Hi, I'm Rek Kwawer with the North American Students of Cooperation, or NASCO. Today we're going to be talking about meetings that rock and how to get your co-ops meetings to be fun, engaging, and productive. The first thing to do is to set expectations. Pick a space where everyone is comfortable and can see and hear each other. Set clear goals for the topics in your meeting. Is an item a discussion, a vote, an introduction to an item? Make the creation of your agenda a part of the daily life of your co-op. Keep it in a visible space. Allow people to add to it. However, you'll want to make sure that your agenda is locked at least 24 hours ahead, giving members time to read the agenda, read the items, and prepare for the meeting. Some co-ops lock the agenda even further in advance. For example, if your meeting is on Sunday and people often are busy over the weekends, you might want to lock the agenda on the previous Friday so that everyone has a chance to look at it. Allow space for new business items to be introduced for a future meeting, rather than need to be brought up and discussed at the meeting. Review your process at the start of the meeting. This is especially important when you have new members, but it's always helpful for everyone to review the process and be on the same page about how things will work. If you have guests attending part of your meeting, welcome them up front to respect their time, address their issues, and then let them leave if appropriate. Some things to talk about with members of your co-op. When did you attend a meeting of any type, co-op, school, work, that was really great? What were some of the things that contribute to it being so successful? Have you attended a meeting that felt uncomfortable or unproductive? What are some of the things that could have been done differently? What will you do differently if you were either attending the meeting again or if you could facilitate it? If you don't have people around to talk with about this, you can consider writing down your answers to these questions. Once you have the agenda items set, you'll want to create an agenda. This is a sample of an agenda, which we'll look at to see how it's working. You can see that each item is listed along with its sponsor, a time for it, and what the result or outcome will be. However, you should look carefully at what the items are and the order that they're in. For example, there's a 45-minute item that's a vote about cat litter boxes, followed by a 5-minute info item about cat litter boxes. The co-op might want to reverse the order of these and have the info item first, followed by the vote. Also, a vote probably doesn't need to be 45 minutes. A vote is a quick thing. So perhaps the info item should be longer and the vote should be shorter. Right below that, there is a 30-minute discussion about room swaps. And then after that, a 10-minute vote about room swaps. That looks much clearer because there's a discussion, which takes longer, and then it's followed by a quick vote. There's also a new business section at the bottom. This is a very important thing to have because sometimes there are things that come up too close to the meeting to be added to the agenda, but they're important to bring people's awareness to in advance of the next meeting. There are some things you'll want to keep outside of the meeting. One option is to keep a parking lot, or a garden, or a bike rack, which is a list of items that you'll revisit later. A lot of co-ops keep this list on a big visible place, such as a whiteboard or a big sheet of paper posted on the wall. But having it written like that helps keep people's awareness on those items. Commitments. Make sure somebody will bottom line any tasks and agree to a deadline, and then follow up at the next meeting. Publish minutes quickly and publish them where they get seen. Some co-ops like to email their minutes out. Some co-ops print them and put them in places like bathrooms and the dining room table. The minutes are always public. Even if you don't release them publicly, they can become public if requested. So you'll want to be careful what you put in your minutes. Your commentary about items should be private. It's useful to develop an agenda form that hardwires any recurring items. For example, if your group always does a check-in, followed by an agenda review, followed by announcements, you might want to have a form that has those automatically printed on it so that you don't forget. Keep the agenda for the next week available through the meeting so that you can add items as they come up in discussion. It's also helpful to check out using a specific format or question. For example, an evaluation of the meeting or an evaluation of facilitation. It can be useful to set these ahead of time so that everyone is clear during the meeting about what they're evaluating. Some things to think about. What are some items that are always on your co-op's agenda? Are there things that are always on your agenda that you'd like to add or subtract? Who makes the agenda in your co-op? Who approves the agenda? Fun is important. Folks are much more likely to show up for meetings when they're fun. If there's no spirit, members are even less likely to show up. Not every meeting can be a party, but folks should feel like they're a good use of time and that they're a social activity with housemates. Some co-ops like to have snacks. Help people be comfortable. You can break up the time with quick games or a short break. Allow some respectful jokes and asides. This can help keep an atmosphere that leads to more creative thinking and efficient decision-making. There are also some red lines and things to avoid. You'll want to avoid coercion. If people aren't attending meetings, shaming them or forcing them to participate is likely to backfire. If participation is low, do people feel that meetings aren't valuable for them? Are they at a bad time? Do members feel welcomed? These are things that your co-op might want to examine. Stay away from personal attacks. If something upsetting is said, say so while speaking from your own experience of what was happening. Don't interrupt members or make disrespectful gestures, and help keep each other accountable for this. We'll talk more about facilitation and what you can do to help facilitate meetings. Thanks.